Told that when we had a president, we'd see a giant global political figure, the man that would be the political leader for 500 million people, the man that would represent all of us on the world stage, the man whose job was so important that, of course, you're paid more than President Obama. Well, I'm afraid what we got was you. And I'm sorry, but after that performance earlier that you gave, and I don't want to be rude, but you know, really, you have the charisma of a damp rag and the appearance of a low-grade bank clerk. And the question that I want to ask, that we're all going to ask is, who are you? I'd never heard of you. Nobody in Europe had ever heard of you. I would like to ask you, President, who voted for you? And what mechanism? Oh, I know democracy is not popular with you lot. And what mechanism do the peoples of Europe have to remove you? Is this European democracy? Well, I sense, though, that you're competent and capable and dangerous. And I have no doubt that it's your intention to be the quiet assassin of European democracy and of the European nation states. You appear to have a loathing for the very concept of the existence of nation states. Perhaps that's because you come from Belgium, which of course is pretty much a non-country. But since you took over, we've seen Greece reduced to nothing more than a protectorate. Sir, you have no legitimacy in this job at all, and I can say with confidence that I can speak on behalf of the majority of the British people in saying we don't know you, we don't want you, and the sooner you're put out to grass, the better.
Well, as you said, Mr. President, you wouldn't like to be rude, and I prefer to go ahead with the statement.
That's Nigel Farage joining us with an exclusive European Union Member of Parliament from England coming up in the next segment. He's in Europe right now. UK's European Member of Parliament, Nigel Farage, faces reprimand for calling Herman Van Rompuy wet rag. That is the London Telegraph. Here's the London Guardian. Nigel Farage, rampage of rudeness. Well, we have all the internal documents. It's all over the news in Europe that the EU intends to bankrupt the nations and bring them fully under its control. Herman Van Rompuy is unelected. Oh, don't be rude to this scumbag. Don't call out this filth that calls for global government and global taxes through the carbon tax, the tip of the green world government pyramid that they talk about in this United Nations document just out today, prisonplanet.com. A $45 trillion wealth transfer from what's left of Europe and the United States middle class to Herman Van Rompuy and the bankers that control him. Give me a document cam shot. We're live at prisonplanet.tv. Here is the UN document I was covering. We'll talk about this with Nigel Farage and a lot more. Then when he leaves us in about 35 minutes into the next hour, I will go through this document in detail today. Then Bob Chapman's joining us. Then we got John Young of Cryptome that got shut down without a court order, without anything, via Microsoft when he published their secret document of how they're spying on everyone without warrants for the police. So that is coming up, as well as the establishment is very frightened of people exposing them. Their hubris is draining out of their pig-like bodies, and they're now girding themselves for battle with the internet and free speech. So that is coming up. But the uproar was so huge, they've now restored Cryptome because of the black eye it was giving Microsoft. So that is coming up. But after this quick break, Nigel Farage, member of the European Union Parliament, who will stand up and speak to trash and scum like they deserve to be spoken to, will be joining us live, ladies and gentlemen. And then, next Monday, the exclusive new album from Shooter Jennings and Stephen King, Against the New World Order. You will hear Stephen King, spoken word, for the first time ever here on this show.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
He is a member of the European Union Parliament, hailing from England. He's back in England now. And, of course, he was the former United Kingdom Independence Party head. He stepped down for that to run for another office. And we are joined by him. He's all over the U.S., British, and European news, skewering Herman von Rompuy, the guy that openly calls for world government, a $45 trillion to begin with, wealth transfer from Europe, England, the U.S., and Canada, Australia to the UN. Gordon Brown last week called for a global government through a banking constitution where the banks take full control of the nations and then taxes are paid directly to them. He joins us for the next 30 minutes. Nigel Farage, rampage of rudeness is the Guardian headline. Nigel Farage faces reprimanded for calling Herman von Rompuy wet rag. London Telegraph. I would call him even more, a horrible, sickening, criminal parasite. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much. And yes, I think given that what people like Van Rompuy are doing is robbing us of our democracy and robbing us of our ability to determine our own futures, I think I was quite moderate, really.
I think you were. I mean, this guy wants to take $45 trillion from us and give it to himself. He's unelected. The whole climate thing has been proven to be a fraud. I mean, he's heading up a criminal enterprise.
It is extraordinary. And of course, you know, he's not been put there by any democratic means. He can't be removed by any democratic means. And he was talking openly, Von Rompuy, this week in Brussels, about the move towards world government. Nothing hidden anymore. They're not even pretending anymore. This is what some of these people are pushing for.
Yes, Paul Watson at Prison Planet 2 days ago wrote another article with multiple quotes of him saying global governance, global government. I mean, and it's undemocratic. The Financial Times of London admits it's undemocratic. England's already under it, even though you haven't voted to be part of it. I mean, when does this end?
Well, you know, some things in life have to get worse before they can get better. I think the fact that they're being totally open now about their ambitions shows that they think it's in the bag, shows they think they've done the deal, they're the winners, it's all over. And, of course, when people get as arrogant as that, then, you know, the old saying that pride comes before a fall, it will come. But, you know, it's difficult to see in the depths of a time like this exactly what the catalyst will be. But I just know from my travels, from talking to you guys across your side of the pond, and I just know there is a growing awareness, a growing feeling amongst tens of millions of people. They're beginning to wake up to what's being done to them, and it can't go on.
Well said. Let's talk about the punishment you're going to undergo. What can they do to you?
Well, yes, I have got to report to the headmaster's study at midday on Tuesday. It's also reminiscent of being sort of caught smoking at school, isn't it? You know, sent off to take your 6 of the best wax or whatever it may be. I'm going to his office at midday, at his request, obviously. I think that over the last couple of days, this has escalated into a diplomatic crisis because the Prime Minister of Belgium, the non-country as I called it, the Prime Minister of Belgium is demanding an apology and demanding that this doesn't ever happen again. So I think they're going to ask me to apologize.
They don't want you to continue to point out the obvious that especially Belgium and other nations are fully controlled now by the unelected EU. You have the unelected Von Rompuy telling you, an elected member of the parliament, to shut up.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I mean, that analysis is entirely right. I am guessing that I'll go and see them next week. I'll be told to apologize. I'm going to point-blank refuse. I have nothing to apologize for. I mean, telling the truth should not be something for which I have to apologize or confess. I mean, crikey, we're back to the days of Stalin and show trials, aren't we? And I'm guessing they're going to suspend me from the parliament or something like that. Well, let them do it. I don't care.
That'll only draw more attention to this viperous little demonic creature. I mean, Von Rompuy, just his whole demeanor, not just his actions, is like Pachari. I mean, they look like something out of Oliver Twist or something. Classic villain. Stay there. Nigel Farage, UK member of the European Union Parliament. We'll be right back in 3 short minutes.